long while I'll show the way through the wild miles. Ain't a chance we go out of style. Sky blue, it suits you. Reach there, I dare you to come through. In the air, we dance like we used to. Na 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 na. You're giving me a little mania. In a dash, we crash down the party. I can taste the race in your heartbeat. Na 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 na. You're giving me a little mania. Mania.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a presentation of the CCA League here on IPL, our second cast of the season. Glad to have you guys along for the ride. My name is Kyon. I am joined by Par this time, or Par 2 for that matter. Before we begin, Par, how are you doing?
I'm doing great today, Kyon. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, for sure. We got ourselves a matchup here, and if you guys were here last week for IPL, we had USF Gold versus UCF Knights. USF Gold's back. They got the 4-2 set victory over UCF Knights last week. They now take on a UCSD Esports Gold team who has been around the CCA since season 1, for the very inaugural season of it. UCSD Esports Gold back in Div 1 once more. 4-3 victory over Old Bay Brigade. And Par, there may be some, Par, to say the least, teams with such long longevity, you love to see them stick around.
Yeah, absolutely. It always feels like there's like a whole bunch of teams these days that don't end up staying together, especially especially with how pickups have been a lot more common in the Splatoon scene in general. Just seeing a team stick around for so long is always just really heartwarming to see in the scene.
Especially with collegiate teams, of course. We got you guys started here. Both teams with a dub on the board, 1-0 your records. USF Gold, just going to give you guys a quick recap of the roster. Roster here should be featuring Inker from last week, of course. Glorp, Benadryl, Thai TV, Gimme, and Flacco for USF Gold. UCSD Esports Gold, Goatchild, who's been around the team for a long time. Nerdy Adam, Kasame, Blaster, and Ocean Opal, rounding out that UCSD Esports Gold squad. Both teams looking to see if they can go 2-0. Of course, the losing team gets their first loss of the year, of the season. Excuse me, not the year, the season. So that's how we're setting things up. We're gonna start game one momentarily here apart, and it's gonna be on Museum Clams. Tell us what you think about it.
I mean, I've got no notes. Museum Clams has been one of my favorite Clams maps to do it on, honestly. It just kind of feels like it takes all of the strengths that you have from Museum. You have the spinners, you have like all of the weird terrain, you have the height differences, and it just kind of works out for Clam Blitz in a way that is really, really good. You have like the ability to score the clams on that upper grate area above the basket, but it's because it's all grates and it's super exposed. You can get shot down really easily by anything with range, and I would expect to see stuff with range on Museum of all maps.
Yeah, definitely, and of course, you know what? For this map combination in particular, we always see clams, of course, in many different maps alone. I feel like this is one of the many Clam Blitz maps that you get to see this be viable in, and of course, that's how we kick off game one. There is going to be an elephant in the room we'll have to address when we get to that point with the map list, about a couple maps down the road. But Par, when we're talking about two teams here going on a best of 7. I assume getting that first game win helps kickstart some of that momentum. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Game one momentum is usually something that is very desirable whenever you're doing a long set like this. Best of 7, best of 9, hell, even in a best of 5, actually, it's really, really nice to have. And it's going to be especially so on a map like this, where lockouts aren't really going to be super common, and it is going to be probably a long match. I would not be surprised if it goes to overtime, just because of the fact that you do kind of need to win like 1.5 fights in order to score on this map.
And that's actually kind of interesting, because with a map like this, Par, of all things, I'm actually wanting to see how both teams does. Actually, we're gonna go right into it right away. So we get to kick off game one to start things off. UCSD Esports Gold, by the way, gonna be on the gold color side this time, contrary to USF. USF's gonna be flipping over on the blue team. Take a look at the weapons. What strikes out to you?
Oh, we've got a carbon roller on the blue team. We've got a slosher deco. I have not seen that weapon in a long time. That's the dark bucket, and it's the first one down.
You just had to call it the slosher deco. I know the slosher deco is such a oddball thing, but here we are. That's how it's gonna work. And got 2 members down, by the way. Again, this is going to be USF move for those leading in. So UCSD is able to take out a few members just like that. Go Child, of course, on their leader, which I have seen more often on especially even dating back to other leagues part of Party Man, Go Child in. And this is going to be easy to crack out the game.
I absolutely think so. I mean, with plus the Kraken, always valuable on clams. If you're able to start that Kraken near the basket or that consistent super jump point during the entirety of the game, it could be huge. Plus, on the middle, especially the range of the easier is extremely impressive, as you can see.
Yeah, that is a great snipe on the anchor to get things started here, but both teams kind of stuck into this neutral stage here. 3 members, by the way, going to be down on USF, so UCSD is going to be moving a little bit forward right now as Adam immediately pops the trip strikes on that side. Goldchild's going to move right in, but the rest of the team is going to follow through. That's the first power clamp already in. Goldchild already gets 1 out of the picture. It's Anchor once more, targeting Anchor for all it's going to be, and Glorb is just going to get the slay onto that one. That's a great start overall for UCSD. Esports, at least with the one and done push, but at least he gets the points on the board.
Yeah, it is points on the board. However, it is going to be a lead that is going to be pretty fragile as long as USF can get UCSD out of their area. 2 power clams, or just a power clam and 1 sword at all, is going to be all it's going to be to swap that. And oh my god, the triple is going to be that window that they need.
That was killer. Glorp, by the way, as I've seen in that one, oh my gosh, and Nerdy Adam gets a triple by on the other direction. So much for the triple from Glorp. Adam just responds beautifully with a triple of their own. I think the 2 that went down to a bomb earlier. Glorp had the opening just like that, and Adam's like, nah, forget that idea there, Par.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is now starting to turn into an outright brawl. Fights are breaking out all across the map right now. The power clan barely manages to get out. We're trying to put more pressure onto the E-leader. The Zipcast was queued up. This could be huge here.
This could definitely be huge. Glorb is just trying to dive right and trying to find any members. It's actually kind of split between different priorities. There's one moving to the right, one moving to the left, and Glorb changing targets there. Just not able to get one just like that. Able to slash Tosame in half at the very least there. But all that being said and done, USF still trying to rebound a little bit. Only getting caught out there by Adam, actually just missing the jump anywho. So that's just adding insult to injury. This lead is still very much fragile. There's going to be a power play that's on the board here for UCSD Esports Gold, which has just been dropped. But nice response right away from Adam, taking out Tide TV, and that Zipcaster's now flying there for UCSD, but it's gonna go down, and both teams still stuck in neutral here, Par.
Still stuck in neutral. That was actually almost a push for UCSD, but USF managing to get the Stamper into a position in order to stall out the push, make sure that the paint was still around in order to stop them from just immediately going forward and extending that lead. It's going to keep them in this game just a bit longer. Because, again, all they need is just a single good push, and they can take the lead.
That lead, you see, 180. I don't know the last time I've seen such an evenly fought battle between 2 teams here where this power play just jammed at 80 points remaining, just the one and done push. Oh, Noble is have they actually gone down? It looks like it is. There might be some shenanigans that are in play. In fact, that was shenanigans that was in play. Ocean Opal just disappears right in front of your very eyes. A magic trick has happened there. I'm gonna assume that's a DC for the. I'm gonna assume that DC will unfortunately have to count given the time left, but we'll have to keep an eye on that one. As already points on the board for USF, and now a perma 1 down situation for UCSD. That is a push somehow stalled, but needless to say, they gotta play perfect from here on out for UCSD.
Yeah, absolutely. It is always unfortunate when this sort of thing ends up happening. Unfortunately, that's just the name of the game right now. And with these specials that they have lined up, they have a triple link strike. They might have a Kraken ready soon. It is possible that they could end up breaking in if they manage to get a good pick. If they manage to find a blind spot in the defense, there could be something going on for overtime. But there's no power clam held right now.
There is that power climb that is available, but now Can you play a perfect 3v4? I have seen UCSD from massive historical past pull it off, but it's good, such an uphill climb, and it's already going to be just 2 members cut in half just like that, and it is just going to be Gold Shot. They're just going to retreat with the power climb, and I don't think they're going to have any space left in the tank for it. It was just a quick one and done push. Ocean Noble disappearing before our very eyes, a little unfortunate in the grand scheme of things. Assuming the results hold par, that's going to be USF Gold on the board, 1-0 to start.
Yeah, you always hate to see it, like, at such a pivotal moment, losing a player, like, permanently to just, oops, Nintendo Internet, I guess.
Well, yeah, that's usually how it goes, but also the other problem, too, is it wasn't really much of a safe lead, that was kind of an ill-timed moment there, but if you take everything from the first 4 minutes of this game, there, Par, it was kind of just almost back and forth, even with the one power climb, it was just a 1 power climb push at the end of it, so... At the end of the day, it really just came down to who got the better push at the end of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't. It can sometimes be demoralizing to lose a game like that, but I feel as if like UCSD can keep their head in the game perfectly fine. That was an extremely even game, and it could have gone either way. Honestly, there's absolutely no way of knowing who would have won if there was no DC in play. So all you can do is pick yourselves up and just give it your all for the next game. Splat Zones on Umami Ruins. That is going to be a fun one. I am a personal fan of this map.
Yeah, definitely. And again, if we do see museum clans, that is a replay be used. Excuse me, but we're gonna assume that the results hold. With Umami Zones being the one coming up here. And Bar, you said you were a huge fan. How much of a huge fan are you on this one?
Oh, I'm a pretty big fan, honestly. I think this is like one of the few like double zone maps that actually feels like it has a good back and forth. Ever since like the map reworks that ended up happening, it feels like way more open. It feels like there's a lot more options in terms of trying to push through mid, and a lot of the terrain, especially around the spawn areas, is just so much more flexible. It is so much easier, it feels like, to get out of spawn. It does still have a little bit of a lockout problem, but I don't think it's nearly as bad as it used to be.
That is actually kind of an interesting thought there with the redesign. I actually I think a lot of people completely forgot about some of that redesign there from Mommy Zones from a while back. So maybe I'm gonna be intrigued to see how both teams approach this map as a whole. Now, because we kind of just saw even match, even again, I know the elephant in the room, the 3v4 situation, but because it was so evenly matched that ultimately it did make the difference at the end. But I feel like we could possibly be seeing another brawl here. I wouldn't be shocked if there are some weapon changes, but given what we see, I think Par, you and I are kind of hoping that there's fireworks happening in this map.
Oh, I would certainly hope so. Of various varieties. I think this is one of those maps where you kind of do want to have some form of burst paint. You want to have something that is able to just take a zone very quickly, because you have 2 to contest, and one of them is going to be more favored for the enemy to be able to contest. So I would like to see something that, honestly, like anything like with the Reef Slider, any sort of burst paint option. Heck, I mean, this is just a really good pencil map, in my opinion, just from the sight lines and just being able to hold down that close zone very, very well.
I know you said it's a very good pencil map. I know people will probably be wincing a little bit just to hear pencil once again. I'm sure that's exactly how that's all playing out. But I wouldn't be shocked if we do get to see that pencil that being dished out there. It's actually, I believe, if I recall, yes, it was USF Gold that may have had a pencil on that was in place. So I wouldn't be shocked if that does go back. But for both teams, there's a few interesting reads here. Now, Gochao can play obviously both versions of the E-Leader. It's almost their primary weapon for UCSD Esports Gold's End, so I can see them just flexing back to the vanilla E-Leader. Maybe sticking with the Kraken if they think they can get value. That actually wouldn't be a surprising choice, but I'm wondering, honestly, as much as I'm theorizing about this, I wouldn't be shocked if both teams opted to stay the same, or if they want to change things up.
I think that it could be possible that they would change things up. If we're still seeing an E-Leader, I would personally pick a vanilla E-Leader over this. The Ink Mines are really good at holding like a single zone because of the amount of paint that they can provide when they detonate. At the very least, they're really consistent at neutralizing a single zone in a double zone map. Plus, on Plus, the Wave Breaker, I actually really, really like Wave Breaker on this map. It's why, like, I don't know if this is actually in either team's pool, but a custom Wellstring could also go hard on this map for that same reason. Plus, the fact that it is able to shoot over cover. That and Explo are, like, some of my favorite weapons to see on this map. I'm kind of curious to see if either team can pull that out.
I know a few. I know a few Explo players of my time as well. And if they had a Wellstring player, I think they're. If I recall from last week, I don't think there were any Wellstrings that were in play, though the map pool may have not warranted Wellstrings being used. So, wanting to see what the changes are here. So, coming in so it looks like we are still ironing things out. I'm can only presume some lobby shenanigans again with the DC from earlier. That's kind of what I'm wondering wondering what's going on that side. Which well. So much for me having to worry about that now, there, Par. Right on cue. There it is. And hey, Blaster's dishing out something pretty unique there. Glorb's going with that custom range blaster with the crack, and those are the primary changes there. Kosami's going back to vanilla slaughter this time.
Yeah, all of this really makes sense. I actually really like the heads-up play with the Zimmy. The bubble is going to be able to, like, get a whole bunch of paint off of the zone and is going to be able to help reinforce holds take space. It's a very scary weapon to be sure. But we have blasters, we have a pencil. Like I said, I was kind of expecting that. And now we have a really early hold from UCSD. That is going to be a really good start for the momentum in the first 30 seconds.
Blaster, by the way, being subbed in there with that Zimmy. That's the player I'm going to be keeping my eyes on, especially with the bubble that is being used. A very aggressive bubble. It is going to go down, but it is going to buy UCSD Esports some time there, as they're going to cause the jump back through. Goatchild, by the way, going to a pencil in this situation. We got dueling pencil there, so Goatchild not opting to use the E leader, which I've known them for quite some time. Blaster is still lurking large. There is 2 down there from UCSD Esports Gold End, but the Kraken is about to be lurking large only for a few quick moments. Despite the staggered down situation, UCSD Esports Gold is still getting points. This is probably gonna be the time for USF to switch.
Absolutely, and with that, with the strikes flying, we have the. Sorry, the circumstances changed and my thought just completely evaporated.
Yeah, what happened there? What happened there with the trip strikes? Do you think the trip strikes may have led to something different there as UCSD Esports Gold gets it back?
Yeah, I think it might have been, but like right now this hold is actually like nothing short of incredible. We've only got 10 seconds left, and unfortunately USF Gold is not able to, has been staggering over and over again, not able to flip both the zones, been able to neutralize, but it's not going to be enough, and it looks like, no, wait, hold on, I don't know, Kyun. It is going to be a KO.
It is going to be the KO. So that's actually kind of interesting because I see where you were going with this one, was the trip strikes were ready from USF, were ready there, and you're like, okay, maybe this is the time right now for USF Gold to get the zone spot. Especially with the advantage they had over UCSD Esports Gold, but it was going one player down for about a few minutes later, and then it was just like, wait, the zones isn't flipping their part. I wondered that was exactly what was going on.
Yeah, I was expecting one thing to happen, and then something else happened, and then I was just like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute, we gotta change gears. But it also kind of explains how UCSD Esports Gold, the way this game's playing out for UCSD. I was actually kind of stunned they even held on to the zone in general. But the other thing too, though, Par, is it's a 2-zone map, so you would think that, okay, USF Gold with the advantage they had, easy pop in the neutral, but quick assignment change, getting the zone back, forcing neutral in that regard, and it just kind of played itself beautifully there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was that was like a textbook hold, honestly. It got a little bit shaky here and there, but they never managed to go down at any point to the point where like both zones were really in any danger. At least one zone was always being held, and unfortunately, with every push attempt, there was just a little bit too much of a stagger for both zones to be under enough threat.
And I'm gonna be curious to see how this game 3 is gonna play out here in Makomar Tower Control. I mean, Makomar Tower Control, not the most common tower control map, but it is getting played here in this game 3. And I mean, is there anything that kind of strikes out to you weapon-wise, or anything that both teams would need to approach it with?
We have seen both teams approach this game with this set with blasters and sloshers. This is blaster and slosher heaven right now. This is I'm going to probably expect both teams to be running at least one of each. Probably going to be with some chirp strikes. I could see potentially seeing that Zimmy again, maybe with that bubble or some other bubble weapon. I could see Decavitator. I could see Junior. There's a whole bunch of stuff that works really well on Mako Mart in particular, especially with all of the ledges that are available.
That's actually gonna be what I'm intrigued about. We see Glorp, by the way, Stamber in game 1, and then the second game was a custom range blaster, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, it might have just been the regular blast during that regard, but Glorp, this is gonna be a time for USF Gold if they want to keep that momentum. Maybe you could see Glorp switching over to either of those weapons. For UCSD Esports Gold, this is going to be intriguing. You said Slosher Heaven, there. We saw Slosher Deco in game 1 of all things, and then going to the vanilla Slosher in game 2. Wouldn't be surprised if we get to see that one back, if anything, there, Par.
I wouldn't be too surprised, but though I would say that it is hard to outvalue the vanilla Slosher here, with both having access to that bomb, and as well as I don't think Zipcaster is quite as strong on Mako Mart compared to some of the other maps we have in this set. But like the strength of Triple Ing Strike on tower control in particular is just not to be understated. I feel as if you can't pass that up by running the Slosher Deco.
That's probably, and honestly, that I would think that would be crazy if they even ran the Deco in this case. Oh wait, well no, it's a different Slosher flavor. Par, we're both wrong in that regard. But there is also another weapon. Truthers, back when this weapon got released, thought that this would be great. It has not seen gameplay. How do you feel about Light Tetras?
Light Tetras, we still have the Zipcaster weapon. I let them cook. They died first, but let them cook. Anyway, we also have the Trident Bow being picked for the cooler option, which is very interesting. I have not seen that weapon terribly often lately with the current meta, but it seems to be working out despite losing the Light Tetra immediately. It looks like UCSD Esports Gold is going to be taking the first push to the first checkpoint.
UCSD alumni DRF would be very happy to see that Tri-Slosher be used there in UCSD Esports Gold, just running past that first checkpoint, no problem. Now approaching it through, and Inger's just caught between a rock and a hard place. There's a Tri-Slosher on one end, there's a Kraken on the other end. It's just gonna have to just stand there and realize, all right, forget this idea. There is gonna be 3 down, but two members down from UCSD. It's gonna slow the offense just a tiny bit. May give USF a chance to regroup on defense, excuse me, but the Carbon Roller Deco is going to go down, and Glorp and Inko just kind of retreat there. They're dealing with a lingering Zipcaster that is just flying in from Blaster's end, and they had no chances to respond back to it. This aggression is going nuts here, Par, as the second checkpoint is cleared.
Second checkpoint's cleared. There are still some specials left to be used. The E-Leader ends up taking out this Triple Ink Strike. Both specials on both teams are down, and it looks like this tower is going to end up stalling out, and the push is going to end, at least for now, but there is a cooler that has just been popped by the Tri-Slosher, and so we could end up seeing a continuation from mid.
Yeah, this continuation could easily keep rolling here. It looks like UCSD is just running amok right now. Tide TV drops into Adam's range. A little unfortunate there, as it is going to clear out a couple members out of the picture. There are 2 specials available. Defensive trip strikes are available. Glorp is down to Adam, there goes that Zipcaster from being used. Has to rebuild it from there. Benadryl's going to go down. Glorp finally gets the slash onto Adam on that side. The rest of USF rebounds just in time. Could have been a much more devastating push, especially with the second checkpoint being down, but USF Gold's defense does hold.
Defense holds right now, and it looks like it is going to be going back to the other foot, where the tower is going back to neutral, but we have all of these specials ready to defend the first checkpoint. It's going to be a bit of a rough one as this team fight starts to unfold and completely stuffs USF Gold's push. The Pencil able to jump out with the power of Tacticaler.
Yeah, and now we're about 2 minutes 25, excuse me, on the clock there. Zipcaster is available. While we have some quick downtime there, how does USF try to rebound and get a push started there, especially with the 2 down that just occurred?
Honestly, there's just a lot of pressure being exerted from both the oppressive range of the E-Leader, able to out to stuff the Pencil consistently with its superior range, plus always having that threat of the Tetras being able to zip in from anywhere. I have to apologize, Tetra. I was not familiar with your game.
Well, Blaster's doing a great job with his Light Tetras there. As I get to see, I saw the idea there with the Zipcaster. Greg finds Glorp, just tries to dive right into it, and Glorp's like, okay, well, forget that idea. We're just gonna throw the slash out there. And USF Gold now has to respond. to this incredible pressure, honestly, that UCSD Esports Gold has. This is a very aggressive setup there, too, especially with the E-Leader. There is no momentum right now from USF Gold at this stage. Adams already moved up with that T-Tech. Is just gonna be looking at the wings. USF Gold is just trying to get their defenses back up once more, but by the time all this is happening, their Adam just takes out one more. There is yet another hole from USF, but they got to turn this into offense somewhere along the way.
Yeah, this is going to be a... This is just kind of textbook synergy right now going on with the E-Leader anchoring the entire team. The rest of the team is able to just go super aggressive. You have one of the most aggressive tactical options in the game, and it is currently paying dividends. As like even if USF has been able to back UCSD, they haven't been able to get a push started until right now. They're finally back at checkpoint 1 and trying to tick the clock down.
Yeah, Blaster is able to get the trade onto it. Tower is lost, so that isn't even the first checkpoint being cleared. They gotta get their offense this time getting set up there. Thai TV's been a little quiet here so far in this game, and there is 2 members make that 3 down, and Thai TV is going to need to make this one count there with the Zuka that they have at the ready. With 20 seconds left to go on the clock, that Zuka needs to find Hicks. But losing the pencil, Goatchild outdoes Benadryl once again, and they had to pop this Zuka just to get any sort of anything going on. But the GG tricks are available. One with the Zipcaster, one with the Kraken. Every GG special in the books is still up and ready to go. They're going to pop this one out right away, and there's 2 members down. Goatchild just dives right into the tower just to fully secure it, and UCSD Esports Gold rebounds to take home Game 3.
That entire game just kind of seemed like UCSD just did not allow USF to play the game. Specifically, Goatchild did not allow the pencil to exist for most of that game.
The light Tetris was one thing. I mean, it also changed I feel like Par, you might agree with me to this one, kind of forces this team into just playing super aggressive, just go right into your face playing the skirmish game. There was a person I know that thought that the light Tetris could do to make this exact same play, and surely enough it did. But he hit the nail on the head there. That Goatchild absolutely just cooked Benadryl on a few duels, and the pencil just had a hard time just getting everything set up for the team. Felt like it made the difference there, Par.
Plus, on top of everything, for the entire game, you would always notice, if you paid attention to the resources that both teams had, constantly UCSD just had special advantage at every given point in the match. Even when USF was trying to get a push going, they were just down in specials, down in resources, down in team members. It was just an uphill battle the entire way. It was super hard with the E-Leader, with all of that offensive pressure, with such aggressive weapons all throughout the comp. It was a lot.
It was a lot to deal with there, especially with the specials advantage they had. And Par, let's get this out of the way. How do you feel about Marlin Airport Rainmaker?
I legitimately cannot remember the last time I've seen this in a tournament.
Fair. Fair. It's here now. Both teams now have to deal with Marlin Airport Rainmaker, and I feel like if there's anything I've seen about Marlin Airport, I usually see the TC map. I think I've casted a Rainmaker map at one point in the past year, and I think both teams are not expecting to ever practice Marlin Airport Rainmaker until this week happened. So I feel like there's a lot of ways this can go here, Par, especially with both teams having to approach it.
It's going to be a little bit harder for me to guess as to what kind of adaptations might end up playing here. Obviously, like, this is still a really good Charger map, either for Pencil or for E-Leader. But with knowing that it's a Rainmaker, I kind of feel as if we could end up seeing some potential options to help pop the Rainmaker shield much quicker. There could be a whole lot more stuff that could work with verticality. Casually, I really like playing Wiper on this map, for instance, because of the Torps and the Hammer being able to pop the Rainmaker really quickly. But that's also solo queue mentality. I don't know how much of that is going to necessarily translate.
I feel like the answer will most likely be no sometimes there, Par. Because now you gotta add the team dynamic there as well, so... I feel like this is one thing where we just look at the textbooks like, alright, well, how do people play this map? Hang on, we gotta go dive deep into storage real quick. When's the last time I had to undust this Marlin Airport Rainmaker? Again, no reason why we go that far is it's not a map that many people nor many teams will practice on. Last week we had Hammerhead Clams on game 4 there too, so both teams are having their fair share of interesting maps to deal with. I feel like Par. I want to see what both teams do. At this point, every script in the book is going to get thrown out for whatever they want to dish out.
I feel as if one of two things is going to happen. Either these teams are going to go with their like textbook, their absolute. We know this comp works on most maps. Hopefully, it works on this one too. Or someone is going to be burning down the kitchen.
Well, maybe a little too much home cooking there, Par. Is this where we're going at?
Yeah, pretty much. Just
We're gonna go back to the drawing board here real quick. We may want to try this one again some other time.
yeah,
but
maybe.
Let's figure that part out. Well, now we get a chance. Now we get a chance to see it there. Blaster gonna be sticking around once more, and it's gonna be the Zimmy this time. Enzap's gonna be the main adaptation there, as well, and it is gonna be on the flip side. Actually, I think this is almost as standard as you can possibly get here for USF.
Yeah, this looks like basically like they just don't want to. They don't want to overcook here. They're just going to go with the weapons that they're all familiar with the weird map being a really good, really a stabilizing point really here.
That's totally fair. Like it's like, okay, well, we don't normally practice one. Let's see what we can do with comfort picks. I feel like that's actually, you can never go wrong with that mentality here. As we take a look at the play there, did the cooler actually block the slide? I don't even know if it was gonna land, but that was pretty cool actually. Two members by the way going down from USF, and once more UCSD is winning a lot of fights, and it will be Adam picking up this Rainmaker, and it's gonna slam it home to the first checkpoint right out of the gate, and UCSD strikes first with the checkpoint clear.
That puts to the hidden functionality of Tacticooler being deployable cover. We have Ink Strikes now going to be trying to cut off UCSD and trying to see if there could be a push stop here. But unfortunately right now, USF going 2 down means this Rainmaker is going to get a ton of points and break the propeller over. Oh dear, this is going to end up being a huge push. It cannot stop.
Yeah, if it's not stopped, Inker's gonna have other ideas for it. And Tide TV jump there. I was gonna say a slam dunk in that regard. I put my words on that one, but it is gonna be a nice stall there. I actually would not be shocked that they're just gonna opt for the reset, leaving that Rainmaker where it stands. But they gotta hold that defense right now, and that's what they're gonna do. Rainmaker is going to reset. Glorb gets the pick onto Ocean Opal. There's a little assist there onto Blaster. Adam is going to be out of position as well, and that's USF winning the fight on their own side. UCSD will need to just reset a little bit on offense, but so far 45 points remaining is a very decent score so far.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a really good point. Push. It could have gone so much further if that platform was allowed to retract all the way back. By the way, because if it was popped and picked up, that would have been an instant whole bunch of points in favor of UCSD. Kind of a lesser version of the shenanigans that's possible on Lemuria.
Oh my goodness! I'm trying to remember the last time I had the mirror Rainmaker now. All of a sudden, I'm gonna ignore that for a hot second there. Side TV is actually gonna get the pick onto Ocean Opal. Their UCSD is able to retreat to the back side, and USF is actually able to get a few more picks just like that. But now the next quest, even trying to solve that from the previous map, is just getting the objective moving forward. There, they're looking to use Glorb to help enable that. Glorb is just trying to dive right into it, but it's shut down, not able to get the pick on the Nerdy Adam. They're just gonna have to pick up this Rainmaker to see if they can get the first checkpoint. Goatchild has other ideas though. They know where Benadryl is while picking up this Rainmaker, and Benadryl's gonna go down. It's just a mere 3 points on the board. And Tide TV though is about to clear up house. Noted that Tide TV a little quiet in the previous game. Tide TV is showing up huge on defense and on offense. Can USF get the first checkpoint? The answer is still no. The pick onto Benadryl is gonna stop that. Blaster gets the follow-up, and it will be a minute 55 left to go. Not the first checkpoint clear for USF there, Bar.
Not quite. The Carbon is able to shark the ledge very, very efficiently. However, there is a lot of ledge to cover, and unfortunately, it just takes one person to drop down in a place where they're not being able to stuff the push. And right now, they're like, UCSD is utilizing the various points of cover on the map very, very well to make sure that at least one of their team members is not seen at any given time to be able to flank USF every time they try to get a push. And oh no.
That's the second time so far We have lost a player into this one again, and it's another perma 1-down situation. This time they are going to have the lead, so if you're going to be in a 3v4 situation about a minute 10, you got to play the best defense of your lives at this stage. And so far, we've seen a lot of shutdowns there from UCSD Esports Gold, but it is a tough hill to just get out of right now. Goldchild has to pop the defensive crack in there. Is actually just trying to dive deep into Benadryl, and they're getting pushed back with a few shots being thrown at him, and has to retreat. Is going to go straight into Thai TV's direction, and just like that, the wipeout is there, and it's going to likely be a done and dusted deal. DC a little unfortunate right now as it ties up the set 2-2 there, Par.
Yeah, it is very unfortunate. If UCSD did still have a whole bunch of their defensive tools ready. They still had their Zimmy, they still had their E-Leader, they still had their strikes, but unfortunately, it's really, really hard to come back from a deficit of one player, especially in a coordinated environment such as this.
Again, assuming the results hold, we're on a 2-2 tie here for both teams. I think things are just going to have to be ironed out. By the way, that was the NZAP that disappeared off the map there, Par, just for the edification's sake, in that one. And
yeah.
I know we can go to almost 300 what-if scenarios in the book there, Par, but I feel like the best way to describe it was a great start for UCSD. UCSD was able to hold the line super well when USF was about to strike and pretty much knocked down the door of UCSD. And then when the DC happened, part of me and you were probably just thinking, okay, maybe this might be tough now.
Yeah, I think especially losing your cooler is really, really devastating in this particular metagame as well, with how impactful cooler is, allowing you to just keep coming back over and over again, keep on fighting for so much longer than you would be able to otherwise. Losing the NZAP is just kind of a huge deal there. Even if you still have the tools, you just the fact is, unless you get a full wipe, the rest of the enemy team is going to come back nearly instantly, and you are effectively going to end up fighting like upwards of an 8v3.
that is for sure. So we're gonna have to put that aside for now. Obviously, with the few elephants there in that room, we now go to the Clan Blitz map. It's Barnacle and Dime now for game number 5. And Par, one thing's for certain, it's a very common map. I've always called this the most stalliest map of in the Clan Blitz lineup. I could very well be wrong with the way teams have been playing these days. So, your thoughts on Barnacle and Dime Clan Blitz?
This is very much a stally map. I feel as if this is nearly guaranteed to last the full 5 minutes and overtime, because of the fact that it is the baskets are so far apart from each other. If you end up wiping the enemy team after they've gotten a push, then you still need to win at least one more fight, possibly like 1.5, as I described on Museum, in order to just get an attempt to score. There is so much ground to cover, especially with Tactical Lair, especially since we also know that beacons are likely going to be another factor once again, since we've been seeing the Kraken E-Leader consistently throughout the set.
Goatchild has been on a run so far with that E-Leader. I gotta give credit to USF. Benadryl is definitely trying out there, especially with them on pencil duty as well. But I feel like the ultimate riddle part is, how does USF solve the riddle of this very aggressive, in-your-face crew that UCSD Esports Gold's been having there? Again, even if you ignore the 2Ls, especially with the defense in mind, UCSD has just been playing up tempo, feels like, since minute 1, and USF's kind of just stuck behind about a few steps.
It's a classic problem of like UCSD is playing at a pace that USF doesn't seem to be entirely comfortable with. They need to play. It is a fast and coordinated pace that sows chaos throughout the entire match, and we're going to see if there's going to be any adaptations. Right now, as we're loading in,
it looks like it's just the slosher being thrown in there. But so far, Par, USF's just sticking with what they know.
And that is perfectly fine. I think like if they're able to set up Thai TV for a couple of good flanks here, this is a particularly deadly map for Carbon if it's able to hide in the flanks particularly well. Unfortunately, Stamper going down immediately, and following up with 2 more, that is going to be a very rough start, and UCSD is going to have the ball in their court to start.
Yeah, the ball's now in their court to begin this one as Nerdy Adam already builds that first power climb, already 26 seconds into the match, and UCSD Esports Gold gets the first push of the game. Adam has one clam and actually just respecting Tide TV at that stage, but by doing all this though, all the focus is on the other side where this push is just starting to mangle itself out of control there. Inker left in clear radar there for Adam, just clear sight lines to throw that Zuka shot in. And all that being said and done, 56 points remaining, now counting down a lot more with 3 more clans being thrown into the picture. Goldchild just trying to chase Tide TV. This is just USF leading, but Goldchild mows over 2 members. Their Tide TV going down on top of it, and it extends push even further. Just 1 push is all it was for this one, but the basket finally going up mercifully for USF, and hard to say the least, that was a huge first push to start.
That was incredible, seeing the 2-for-1 for the Kraken following up with a 3rd kill. That is absolutely momentum shattering, allowing UCSD to get back in with the beacons, with Super Jump. And now, like I said before, USF now has to basically win 2 fights in order to even get in the 10th to try and strike back. And right now it's looking good with that Zuka getting a triple.
Tide TV is still doing their part to keep USF Gold at least within range. There, as Inker has that second power claim available, just gonna wisely just chuck that one through with patience, as the rest of the team is able to respond back with an even better push by themselves. That Zuka clearing out a double is actually gonna help matters there. Benadryl gets 2 more clamps in. The wipeout is there, but USF Gold will be happy with that one. That is 21 points remaining. UCSD Esports Gold now in a deficit, but all that being said and done, USF even better response par.
This is now becoming an all-out brawl right now. Both teams are out for blood. They're both trying to just roll over the other, make sure this match doesn't last any longer than it needs to. That aerial shot was amazing, and now this is just a really messy fight going on right now.
That jump shot is incredible from Goldchild. Also, great understanding of how of using that E leader to its best potential there. Kasami is just gonna be trying to move backwards just a tiny bit, respecting what USF Gold is trying to dish out. As Tide TV still lurking large, and even with the 1 power climb that is available there, as we get to see a bit of a trade, USF Gold comes out on top with the upper hand. Glorp is just lurking through. Goldchild has to pop the crack, just chase members from USF out of there, and there are the jumps retreating, and UCSD Esports Gold gets to fight another day as no push was there.
The one lucky thing about the Kraken being the fact that it is completely invincible. Even if you are horribly outnumbered, if you manage to successfully get it, the entire enemy team still has to respect it. They can't just ignore you. You will end up getting picks and end up stuffing the push way back. So it's very good that they ended up backing back up into mid. But right now, it looks like the momentum's shifting yet again. Never mind, I don't know what's happening anymore. There's a big brawl.
You know, this would be the right time for just everything to just happen there, as Glorb gets 1 more, and it's a delayed wipe, I believe, or a delayed triple at the very least, as there are the clams coming in here, as they are going to be just a tiny bit short of the penalty points being cleared out. UCSD Esports Gold trying to set up their defense around this basket, as they are prevented the clams from being cashed in. They will get a second power claim in the mix, and with all of the fighting that is happening here, everything to catch back up on, UCSD Esports Gold prevents more points from being cashed in.
Prevents more points from being cashed in and manages to send away USF, but USF is coming back right now because they spent the time to farm specials, because they didn't end up taking too much space back. This next fight is going to be with USF having most of mid control, but the Zuka might have something to say about it, as well as UCSD's general special advantage right now.
Yeah, especially you got to keep an eye on now. Kraken, trip strikes, and a bubble there. Glorp is just trying to shut them down, as we do get to see that bubble being used. Glorp with a nice little rotation takes out one, is trying to dive into Kosai, but not able to get them. And that will be 25 seconds left to go on the clock, and Glorp at least clears out some of the specials that could have been there. But look at the offense that is there. 3 power clams available. Kosami gets Tide TV, but Tide TV gets a few members back. They will have to juggle 3 power clams there, which, if I'm trying to do the math, just at least 2 power clams will be enough for the lead change, so that's all you gotta cash in on. 2 special are available. Trip strikes, they got a Zuka, they got a Kraken, they got everything set up to throw the entire kitchen sink on for this overtime push. But can USF hold? No, they lose 2, and now things could be open. The first power claim is just short. They cash in the first one. They're gonna just dive right under this one, throw it in. 22 points remaining. They need 1 more small clam for the lead change, as everything is happening all at once with all the camera that's being moved, but there is no Clam being chucked in, and Par, a nail-biter of a finish there. UCSD falls short, and USF wins the next game.
But that is such a good statement from USF right there. No, those wins were not flukes. They weren't just because of the fact that they had some unfortunate DCs go their way. That was a legitimate win. That was such a great defense under underwhelming pressure. They bent, but they did not break.
Bend and not break was definitely that. And Par, what's even crazier, UCSD had a fantastic push to start the game. USF just responded in spades. I was like, oh, that's gonna be a huge deficit, but there was still plenty of time. USF just took on that challenge, and I feel like it was kind of a mixture of different things there. Obviously, other than the messy brawl and who knows what was going on there, USF clamped down when they needed to. I think that Zuka from Thai TV as well with that double with that took 3 members out as well with that assist, kind of cleared the door, and UCSD just needed some extra time to set their defenses back up.
The way that I saw that those first 2 opening pushes traded, it was like I was watching the Splatoon equivalent of a cross counter. It was amazing. But now we're going to be going into Hagglefish Market Splat Zones, about as textbook as of a Splatoon 3 map as you can get. This is going to be Fundamentals v Fundamentals here.
That's actually a great way of putting it there too, Par, because let's be honest, this map is almost a staple in the zones rotation. I think you'll agree with me to this one. So it really boils down to, do you know your Splatoon 3 better than the other? And I think honestly, that's a great way to put it. I wouldn't be shocked if Child goes back from the E-leader. You know Benadryl's going to dish out that pencil. Those are the players I have my eyes on right now. The rest of the team, especially USF, you know that USF has been going standard there. They got the T-Tech, I believe, the Order T-Tech skin, if you will. They got that Stamper as well. And I'm wanting to see what UCSD Esports Gold dishes out. I know they've been having some changes throughout this set. This is going to be intriguing to watch from not just a competition standpoint, how both teams play.
Yeah, absolutely. Both teams, I think, have definitely found their stride at this point. USF has found that has a comp that is working. They are feeling comfortable with it. It is working out for them, and they have started to adapt very well to USD's complete non-stop aggression. They're starting to figure out how to keep the E-leader at bay. They're starting to figure out like all of the stuff that they needed to figure out in order to keep this set alive. And UCSD, for their part, has been able to keep different weapons in their rotation and keep that level of aggression up no matter what comp that they choose. So that kind of flexibility is very, very valuable as well. And now we're going to see these two styles clash yet again on the most fundamentals focused Splat Zones map in the game.
If UCSD Esports Gold wins, this is gonna be another Game 7 out of this group, by the way, because last week I've noted there UCSD Esports Gold 4-3, they had to go to a Game 7 against Old Bay Brigade. And if UCSD Esports Gold wins, this will be their second. This will be all their games actually so far in obviously the 2-week sample size we got has been Game 7s there, and we saw a lot of great things out of UCSD Esports Gold throughout this set, especially with some of their dubs there in I believe it was the second game of this set and the third game of this set was where they got their where they got the W's on. So, I mean, if there's anything I want to see is UCSD Esports Gold, they have to rebound. They got to shake off the 2 losses they had earlier from unfortunate circumstances away. This is their time to just step up at this stage.
Absolutely. Right now, this is the time to do it. We're going to be loading in right now, as a matter of fact. On Gold, we have seen, once again, that standard comp that they have chosen to stick with, and it looks like not much is changing for USF Gold either. It is going to be the comfort pick versus the comfort pick, with the exception of a Neo Splash now in the mix.
You know what? I was gonna say Anchor is actually going with this Neo Splash now. A lot of people are wondering, is the Neo Splash for real? Well, you can farm Trip Strikes for days, of course, but of course you're doing with Trip Strikes other than a crap. So UCSD Esports Gold just needs to fine tune for in this situation there. get our first points of the game. It's going to be an all-out brawl. There's the bubble being used. The Trip Strike's going to probably be obliterating some of that bubble there as well. This is going to give time for Simon to just go right into the side, but has to quickly retreat. And this is UCSD Esports Gold having to give up some ground, and the opening is there for USF. It's a trade 2 for 2 on both sides, and Inker and Benadryl are the ones stabilizing the front, as Goldchild, this time on the pencil duties, gets a few tap shots onto Inker, and the zone split once more. Both teams getting a touch of the zone so far.
Absolutely, yeah. This is going to end up being a very back and forth game all the way. As the teammate advantage, the special advantage is going to keep flipping back and forth. I think that Neo Splash is actually a really heads-up call here, being able to provide more consistent pain for your more pain-hungry weapons such as the Stamper and especially the Carbon, and being able to just flip the zone, being able to shred the bubble is really valuable here. And right now they're riding that extra momentum that they're getting from it, as well as all of these fortunate fights from their team. Oh boy!
Oh yeah, for sure. There, I was actually gonna note on top of it too. UCSD Esports opted to play heavy defense, going back to the base, trying to get their specials all grouped up and ready to go. And I feel that's kind of how they've been playing a lot of the sets so far. Their par was they've been stacking up a lot of the specials and waiting for the right time to use them. They got that they would have a bubble, a trip strike, a Zuka, or even the coolers at the ready there. So the way this game is played out, they already got a flip with the zone 2, so they're throwing penalty points onto USF Gold's end. Responsive trip strikes to try to neutralize it actually isn't going to be enough because it's dueling trip strikes over the zone so far, but 2 members already going down from USF, clears out the space, and Gosama is trying to move forward at this stage. Glorp is going to be caught between a rock and a hard place. Lead is going to change hands. Benadryl has to retreat there, Par.
Oh boy, yeah, that was a really good offense. Being able to trade out the specials in such a way that gave UCSD the ability to go forward. Unfortunately, now it looks like USF is going to end up surging back with the good pick off the Carbon Roller, followed up by the Zuka. Oh boy, there's a lot that's going on here. Yeah, there was a ton happening here. I'll give you a breather here, Par, as USF is just trying to just mangle themselves forward. Once you see that zone flip the other direction, USF's like, nah, we got specials at the ready. Zuka could be fired right into Goldchild's direction. This is going to give us a chance to strike on offense. So waiting for the lull there because both teams are just non-stop fighting here, Par, effectively looking for the time to strike. UCSD Esports Gold knows the assignment. They take out 2 members there. Anchor and Glorp has gone down. Ty TV and Benadryl are stuck in defense. This could be the time for UCSD to get out of those penalty points. Maybe the KO coming up. Yeah, and possibly UCSD like using that bubble to make sure that they can hold space for as long as possible, stall as long as possible. However, this is also now going to give the opportunity to farm special just long enough for the trip strike to come out. But oh boy, some really good picks from the Zuka is going to end up stuffing that, and it's going to be really close. Kyon. It's going to be really close. In fact, that's going to do it there. UCSD Esports Gold takes 3 members out from USF. That's all it's going to say there, Par. And for the first time here on the IPL stage, and we will have a Game 7 for y'all. Winner takes all for this set coming up. God, for a second I thought I wasn't even watching a Hagglefish Market. This felt more like a Scorched Gorge kind of match, honestly. That is certainly the case. 3-3 tie. Game 7 coming up. Second straight Game 7 coming up here for UCSD Esports Gold. USF, by the way, also been stuck in a slog here as well with them going to 6 games last week there too. And I think, to say the least here, Par, Undertow Tower Control, not the most conventional tower control map, and certainly a map you can throw in for the decider here in Game 7. For the decider, I have not seen this map as the decider for a while now. I usually end up seeing it sometimes here and there in other events, but like, oh boy, this is going to be one that is going to be another strange one with how choke pointy the mid area is. The pseudo 3 checkpoints that happens because that first one is kind of just a matter of course. It's just kind of like a formality, you know? But like,
so far. Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
All of the high ground to be taking advantage of the great areas, the overlooks over like both mid areas. I feel like there's going to be a lot of room for potential shenanigans with both the Kraken, E-Leader, and Pencil, as well as like, again, tripling strike being very, very favored by both teams here. The bubble potentially from the mini. I think this could end up being once again a very messy fight, and Yeah, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot.
I'm gonna give you some time to digest here because we're gonna throw in a few loaded questions at in your way. So here's some thought.
Oh no.
USF Gold has gone somewhat standard. Obviously, the Neo Splash being the change, and UCSD Esports Gold has been changing things up. What do both teams need to do in order to get the dub here in this deciding Game 7? What are your thoughts on that?
Execute on their game plans as well as possible. They need to make sure that game 7 nerves aren't going to be too much of a factor. They need to make sure that they keep their cohesion together. They need to make sure that they don't stagger too hard. This is a really bad map to be staggering on, because if you stagger too much, that second checkpoint, that crucial one, is going to end up falling, and then the third one is just so hard to keep a defense of after the team has broken through the second one.
Anything that would strike out to you for you here, because USF Gold, you got to see Thai TV almost going off when they needed them. Been a quiet set early in the stages there, and then quickly ramping up the pace there. Do USF Gold, I'd imagine, are going to try to enable both Glorb and Thai TV to do their part?
Absolutely. I would probably imagine that they might end up sticking. I could see either way. They could end up sticking with the Neo Splash. They could end up going to a T-Tech. They could end up going to something else. I don't know. At this point,
Yeah,
this is Game 7. We could just see a complete Hail Mary play.
That's true, and UCSD Esports Gold, Goldchild's been flexing between the E-Leader and even the Pencil when needed it most, but this team's been throwing out a lot of changes. Anything that would strike out to you from the ones you've seen so far from UCSD? Forget that question, because we're actually about to cue it right in. That will answer it here in just a quick moment, as we get to see there is a sloshing machine being dished out, and Benadryl has chucked the Pencil out the door. Forget that idea. There's a heavy edit that's ready to go.
I am loving this adaptation, actually. This heavy edit is going to be able to shut down a whole bunch of the aggression, potentially, if it is positioned correctly. Benadryl is going to not really fight the Pencil as much as it's going to be fighting the rest of the enemy team, and keeping that cooler output is going to be very vital, especially for the Stamper and the Carbon.
Yeah, and right there, that is still actually going to still provide some good paint output, but that can allow yourself to move a little bit forward. I love that change, as the same way you did. Neo Sloshing Machine, keep an eye out on those Zuka as well, because also the GG strikes are going to be available for both teams, by the way. As in the middle of this brawl, UCSD Esports Gold approaches the second checkpoint. Benadryl is trying to dish out that paint there, and just a hair too late, it clears up the second checkpoint. But at the very least, it stalls the push right then and there, and Glorb gets a few more. Goldchild has to retreat. This is going to be the next push coming up here from USF Gold, as Adam is cut in half.
Cut in half, and then the Zipcaster to follow it up. This Stamper is getting so much work done right now. The Mini gets a bubble up, but it's completely isolated. You don't really need to challenge that right now, as the rest of the enemy team is still scrambling to put a defense up, and that Mini can be dealt with at any time.
Yeah, and now the rest of USF is just trying to collapse onto UCSD Esports Gold, as there is 2 members down. That's 2 members down on both sides at this stage. Anchor's gonna go down. There is a full wipeout. The both checkpoints of all things are cleared, and of all things for both teams, they could not get any more additional points past that second checkpoint. UCSD Esports Gold is responding fast.
In case you might have missed it, USF tied to the point the tower's progress. So unfortunately, because of the way the game mechanics work, it ends up redacting that point back to 48. So it's still UCSD's lead, and they are going on a push that is going really hard with 2 down immediately and no cooler.
Yeah, no cooler available. Anchor's collapsed on, and it will be Adam and Goldchild now Goldchild is gonna be the one right in the tower, but the Staggers are coming in clear here. USF has lost 1 by 1. 2 members down in staggered formations. Thai TV is getting shut down here. The rest of USF Gold has to respond quickly here, as the third checkpoint is being approached on UCSD Esports Gold. So lurking large, the Zuka takes another one, and the second one is fired through, and Kosami gets a triple. This could be the game here. Glorb is the Zipcaster and is the only lone hero standing, and USF is shut down. UCSD is raiding the base of USF. That is gonna do it there. UCSD Esports Gold, for the second straight week, wins a Game 7, and they improved to 2-0 in the season.
Oh man, there is a dominant performance, and they're slamming the door in your opponent's face. It was once again just kind of a cross counter kind of a set of opening pushes, but this time, instead of going the distance, UCSD just says, no, we're not doing this again. We're going for the KO punch right now, and they got it.
Real quickly there, because that Game 7 was almost stellar out of UCSD in that push. Anything that struck out to you, big moments wise in that game 7?
Oh, the Stamper got so much value. Absolutely, the amount of the Zipcaster being able to follow up after sharking, after getting barely able to hit that
USF's
one-shot
more.
hit.
Yep, go on, sorry.
Yeah, just that was really big, and like the final fight ended up going by so fast, so brutally. I was struggling to keep pace with it. Honestly, I just saw that there was just 2 wipeouts back to back, and just oh, that's the game.
Zuka. Just
Yeah,
that Zuka from Kasame. The Neo Sloshy machine was a perfect choice in that situation. And then
a
the
real
Zuka
sword.
one just followed up with the second pick, and then just everything just fell into place for UCSD Esports Gold. I mean, that was just masterful on that second push. I gotta give credit to USF Gold though as well. 1-1 to start the season. They honestly fought that game really well in that Barclay Dime clans, especially the defense clamping down. Just not enough to seal the deal in what has been a barn burner of a set. But USF Gold played fantastically there too.
Absolutely. I think you're still proud of your results, even if you didn't end up taking the win here. You ended up bringing everything to a game 7. You ended up trying your best to like match UCSD's aggression. You did your best to in order to react to everything that was going on. That E-leader, oh boy, I have not seen an E-leader go that hard since earlier on in Splatoon 3's life.
Welcome to Goat Child's world, there, part. You're now living in it.
Oh
from,
no.
from, from UCSD Esports Gold, and that was Goat Child on that E-Layer. Again, from a historical standpoint, that was the weapon that just struck out to me in the few times I've seen Goat Child play it. So, it makes all the sense in that case. But that was the game 7. 4-3 is your final there. UCSD Esports Gold takes it home against USF Gold. That's going to conclude our coverage here on the IPL side. CCA main channel will have additional games ready for you, but before we go over to that, Par, thank you for hopping into this best of 7. Where can the people find you?
You can find me over at twitch.tv/part2 with 2 O's. I do speedrunning and also other stuff sometimes. Keon, what about you?
Find me, Twitch, Blue Sky, Killen2570 is where you can find me. Shoutouts to Super Ryan, of course, our producer here for this broadcast today. But that is gonna do it here for y'all. Once again, final UCSD Esports Gold 4, USF Gold 3 with Ryan, our producer, and my co-com partner Par. This is Killen saying have a good night. Have a good rest of your Sunday even. We'll see you guys next week for another presentation of the CCA League here on IPL. Until then, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye!